In solving this math problem, we will need to understand and make use of the concept of the largest or highest common factor. Alright, so in this video, we're going to learn how to do so. Jean bought 137 pens and 53 pencils. He packed the pens equally in bags and had one left. He packed the pencils equally in the same number of bags, right, and had two left. So the question is, what is the maximum number of bags he could use? Right, so what we can do first is to find the number of pens and pencils that will be packed. Right, so let's do that for the pens first. He had 137. Then he packed them with and then had one left. That means he's packing 137 minus 1 or 136 pens, right? And for the pencils, he had a total of 53, but 2 will be left, so 53 minus 2, 51. Right? That means he has to pack 136 pens and 51 pens in the same number of bags. Right? And this time there will be no remainder for either the pens or pencils. Right? So that is where we have to make use of the concept of a common factor. Right? So let's do that for the pens first, 136. Right? We have to find the factors of 136. Right? So to do so, the usual method is of course to find all the pairs of whole numbers that will multiply to give 136. All right? For example, the first one will be 1 multiplied by 136. Right? Then the second is 2 multiplied by 68. Right? Right? The next one will be 4 multiplied by 34. Right? And then the next one is actually 8, 5, 6 and 7 will not give us whole numbers. 8 multiplied by 17. Right? Then after that is a repetition of the same thing but in reverse. In other words, example, it will be 34 multiplied by 4, and then 68 multiplied by 2, and 136 multiplied by 1. Right? So it is exactly the same pair of numbers. Right? So we can list them these different numbers in one line. All right? So the factors of 136 are these numbers: 1, 2, 4, 8, 17, 34, 68, and lastly 136 itself. So we need to do the same for 51. So what are the factors of 51? So it will be the same: 1 multiplied by 51, and then 2 is not possible because it's an odd number. Then we have 3 multiplied by 17, and then we don't have any other number except for 51 multiplied by 1, which is actually the same as the first one. Right? So the factors of 51 are 1, 3, 17, and 51. Right? Now, so let's pause for a while and understand what these numbers actually mean. Right? So let's take the 51 factors. Right? What these numbers mean is that we can use one bag, right? And then we have to pack 51 pencils inside it. Then there will be no remainder. Or we can also use 3 bags, and then for each bag we need to pack it with 17, and again there will be no remainder, and so on. That is actually the meaning of this. All right. So since we are going to pack the pens and pencils, the 136 pens and 51 pencils in the same number of bags, right? So we have to find the common numbers or common factors between these two. Right? we can see here that there are actually two numbers that are common between the two least factors. So the first one is of course 1, and then the next one that is common is actually 17. Right? So in some other cases, some other numbers, there may be more than 2 common factors, or 3 or 4 depending on what is being used. But in this case, there are actually 2. Right? So that is why the question always mentioned this maximum number, because actually we can only use one bag and put the whole 136 pens and 51 pencils in it, right? And then it will still satisfy our requirements in question, right? But we want the maximum number, so we have to use 17 instead, right? So if you were to use 17 bags, right, it will mean that each bag must contain, because it is 8 times 17, must contain 8 pens and 3 pencils. Right? If Jean were to do so, then he will be left with one pen that is not packed and 2 pencils which are not packed. So for your practice, go to the link that is given below. Click on this button, new problem button, to get new set of numbers. Right? Try out the problem and make sure that you can solve it entirely on your own, and then check your answer by clicking on this. Okay guys, well, thank you for listening and have fun.